And you hear all these people say, right? Whether it's and sometimes you question it, like, no way, you can't just keep going. Say no. You really can.
You really can.
You really can, right?
Welcome to Behind the Knowledge, a best hour podcast where we dive deep into the lives and stories of inspiring coaches from all walks of life. The two hosts of this show are me, Pat Barber, and my good friend and fellow coach, Todd Acuto. Each week, we'll sit down with the most amazing coaches we can find, uncovering their unique paths, the challenges they've faced, and passions that continue to drive them. Whether you're a seasoned coach, an aspiring one, or simply somebody who likes listening to stories of how people achieve the success that they have, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the powerful stories and insights from the world of coaching. This is Behind the Knowledge. Let's jump in.
All right, we are back with Behind the Knowledge. Josh Melendez in the house. CrossFit Level 4 trainer. That is one of the
Is that the ring you got from becoming a Level 4 trainer?
Yes, that is it. That is
Fantastic. This is what you get when you pass.
It is not an Aggie ring, it is a level 4 ring.
Level 4 ring, affiliate owner, seminar staff member. Welcome to the show. Excited to have you.
Good to be here.
My man Pat Barber in the house as well.
Yes. Flesh and blood.
Flesh and blood, the man, the myth, the legend. But really what we want to hear is your coaching journey. We were talking briefly over there, talking about how much work you put in to get on staff, and you finally made it. So where did your coaching journey start? Not only in CrossFit, but just in general, where did you start coaching?
So really coaching started with CrossFit, right?
Really?
Yeah.
You hadn't coached anything before CrossFit?
No, I hadn't. So I played sports growing up, and also I knew that I wanted, like, being a coach is something that seemed pretty cool. I like the idea of basically wearing joggers and a t-shirt all day long. You know,
that was the biggest draw.
Yeah.
T-shirts and shorts, dude. I don't want to wear a suit and tie. I got that.
Comfortable, right?
Yeah, they look comfortable. That looks like a good job.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I knew I wanted to be a coach. I just had no idea how I was gonna be a coach, in the sense of like what sport. Took off, went to the military. I served in the Marines for 4 years. Came back, took advantage of GI Bill. So I went to school, and then I graduated, went and started working at an oil and gas company. And as I was doing that, I joined a CrossFit gym in Houston, and the owner.
Why did you do that? How'd you even hear about it? Like,
So I actually, the first CrossFit gym I joined was when I was at A&M.
Okay.
But I joined it because I started to miss like the camaraderie of the military.
Yeah.
And I remember that while I was in the Marines, we started doing certain workouts. I had no idea what we were doing. It was like thrusters, and now looking back, we were doing CrossFit stuff. It was. I started from 05 to 09. So we were doing some of those movements, and it was new, it was different. We were like, what are we doing? But we have no really choice but to do what they're telling us to do, right? So we were just doing it. Left the Marines, started to see more about CrossFit. I was like, oh, we were doing this CrossFit thing. Right, so I found a CrossFit gym when I was at A&M, and I started doing it because I missed the camaraderie. So when I moved and I graduated to Houston, I found another CrossFit gym. And the owner of it, he was also a former Marine, so we hit it off pretty well. And one day he asked me, he's like, hey man, you want to help me out and coach? I was like, oh, yeah, cool, sounds like a great idea, you know?
Yeah.
So I started helping him out, and went and got my level 1. And coaching for him, I was probably coaching for about nearly a year or so, and I ended up getting laid off from my oil and gas company. And the market got hit hard in Houston. And when I got laid off,
What year was this?
This was in 2016.
2016.
Okay.
And when I got laid off, I think the owner put 2 and 2 together. He had been owning it for about 8 years. I think he realized that I had like a severance package that came my way. So he got a little bit of money. Then he asked this guy, he wanted to buy it. So he asked me if I want to buy the gym. So I was like,
At that point, how much were you coaching? Like when you had a full-time job and you were coaching, was this like
maybe like 4 or 5 hours a week.
Okay.
But I was enjoying it, right? I was enjoying it. I was loving it. I couldn't get enough of it, right?
was that a thought that had entered your mind as far as like owning a gym, or was it just like I just like doing this and I'm going to keep
the thought
doing
of
this?
owning a gym, no, right? But the thought of coaching, I absolutely loved. I was actually trying to see like how can I do more of the coaching, right? So
you were not a coach, and he asked you to coach.
yeah.
There's a process from not coaching to coaching. Where did you just? How did that happen? Like, would you just like, hey, Monday we're gonna walk in and start coaching? Like, what was that?
Yeah, he I'm trying to throw shade on nobody, but he was very like, hey, come tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coach tomorrow.
That's fine. I mean,
Literally,
there's plenty of people who've gone through that process.
And it was very like, okay, guys. Yesterday I was working out with you. Today,
yeah,
here's your workout.
So how did it feel? Like
I was terrifying. You know, I was stuttering.
So what did you do? How did you cope with that? Like, what did you do?
In the moment?
Yeah, in the moment. What?
Oh, I cry internally, you know?
Yeah. I cried internally and told him to push the knees out harder.
There's a couple of things I distinctly remember that I would tell people that I remember one time I was telling one of the members to squat, and I was completely blocking her knees from going up, like as she was squatting, just naturally going in front of her knees.
Yeah.
And I was blocking her knees, and she was like in this position. I was like, no, the knees can't go past the toes. It's bad for your knees.
Gotcha.
And so there's a couple of things I remember. I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
I was a little off here, you know.
Well, you didn't have anyone.
Yeah. Was the owner of your gym like what?
Yeah. So when no.
We're not throwing shade. We're just talking about your.
So the reality was that when I went to take my level 1, I realized like, oh, we're doing a lot of this backwards at the gym.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he was basically honest. He was checked out. He was done, and he was looking to get out of it. And so I realized we were doing it completely backwards.
So the level 1 was the first experience,
real experience
where you were like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Who did you have in your level 1?
So Mark Giardini was my flow master.
Mike was?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
You know?
No, I'm just kidding. We just had him on the podcast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He was my flow master. Becky was on there. Oh man, I can't remember the other 2.
Okay.
I can't. So it was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 4.
And did one of those coaches stand out to you as you were watching him? Is there anyone who like?
Mike did.
Mike did.
Just like his level of calmness.
Yeah.
And how he just operated in a sense of so much, like he knew what he was talking about, but he didn't come off arrogant, right? And it was just, I don't know, it was very impressive how he carried himself. It was really, really cool how he went around and really coached and connected. It was very effortless,
Right.
You know? It was really, really cool to see that.
Okay.
So you take your level 1. You're impressed by that. You go back to your gym. There's not a lot of coaching, probably not a lot of direction. You get out on the floor. You start coaching. What did that look like? Like, did you try to take some of the things from your level 1 back and coach, or was it like, no, my example of coaching is what I saw at my affiliate from my owner, that's how I'm trying?
Yeah, I remember I tried to, but it's very hard, right? If I'm coaching like 1 or 2 hours a day, and then the owner was basically doing his thing. It basically will wash away the things that I was trying to do.
Right.
You know, so I would have
because the culture was not it.
Yeah. So I would try to do it again, and then it became exhausting. So I almost be transparent. Like I basically, okay, cool, let me just show up. You know,
check the box, write the workout on the board, tell them what the warm it is, get your weights ready, and
let me just make sure they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And then once I purchased a gym, at that moment, right, it became, oh man, like I need to run the business. Right, so coaching, without a doubt, to be honest with you, it took a back seat because I was like, I need to figure out how to run this business.
Right.
And then after the first year, I remember, so I bought it in March of 2017. The rest of the year, it was, I was trying to figure out what to do, and it wasn't about January where I was okay. I started going to this one cafe, bakery by the gym, and I just started to immerse myself back into the level 1. And I was like, I know I want to become a better coach. Like, I just know I do. Because there were certain coaches that I will follow on Instagram, and I was like, how can I become that guy? Right?
Who?
So it was Ben Bergeron.
Okay.
Looking at Denise Thomas.
Okay.
Going back and thinking about Mark Giardini.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I become these people? And I was like, they just know their craft. They know coaching. Right? So I just started to just dive deep back into coaching. I was reading my level 1. I remember that I ended up signing up for the level 2 in May. But before that, I was like, what are some low-hanging fruits here? And to me, some low-hanging fruits were the CrossFit online courses. Spot the flaw, programming, scaling. And to me personally, I feel like almost every coach should have all of those online courses.
Right,
sure.
It's low-hanging fruit. And you
Yep.
have access to it forever, right?
For sure.
And so I just started just picking those apart, just one by one.
Did that impact your coaching? I'm
for
assuming
sure.
obviously it did. And so
Yeah.
what did that look like? Like what changed
Well,
in your
to
coaching?
me, it opened up like, okay, like what I realized, I was like, oh man, I'm missing the beat here. Like I'm not providing feedback. My programming is not allowing me to provide any type of coaching, right? Oh, scaling, okay, it's not either this or this. There can be another option or two in between, right? So it started to really help me out and understand how can I deliver and meet my athletes where they are, and then actually start to like try to provide some feedback to help them move just slightly better, right? And then when I went to level 2, when they started going over the teaching, seeing, correcting, that helped me out a little bit more on how to actually provide some effective cues and see better.
Yeah, what were your big takeaways from the level 2? So you go to the level 2, you get feedback, and usually there's some bigger things that are like, focus on these things. So what were your takeaways like?
One of my biggest takeaways was the programming.
Okay.
We were doing way too much.
Right.
Way too much.
Common theme. That's a common theme.
Yeah, so we were doing way too much. And then also just the whole seeing and correcting. Like,
Yeah.
I just knew that whether it was just positioning my body and how to look at people properly.
Yeah.
Right? Or just maybe, when it comes to like the strength day, have half the class go and then the other half go. Something very
So you
simple.
can really look at
yeah,
them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Something very simple that in the time is all right, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. Everybody lift. It's like, okay, but something very simple. You guys are gonna go at the 30-second mark. Right? Very simple things that I just at the moment didn't think of. I didn't know about really, right? But yeah, it was the programming like that really jumped at me. But the seeing and correcting, right, it was something that I knew that was gonna take time. The program was something like, okay, yeah, I couldn't immediately go at that right now.
You could. I'm actually curious though. Like you came from a culture of no coaching and too much, and so you now owning the gym. You realize that you need to change your program and give coaching. Was there pushback from your people? Like, did your membership go whoa? Like, tell me about that.
So I think one thing that helped me out was that a lot of our members, they sensed it, they felt it, and they knew that the old owner was done, right?
Yeah.
So when I started coaching, I was able to gain a lot of their trust, and they would
Gotcha.
enjoy my classes simply because I was fresh, right? And then I was all about it, right?
Yeah.
And you'd been coaching already, so I'm sure you got a little bit of buy-in because obviously, I'm assuming, not obviously, but assuming that you were way more passionate and engaged,
Yeah.
and if he was obviously checked out, then they're like, this guy gives a crap about me.
Like,
And
can
so
sense
they
the
start to
joy,
earn the
right?
trust.
They
Yeah.
can sense the joy, and they can sense that, oh, this guy really cares, right? And so when I switched to programming, I simply told them. Because I remember like one thing that in January 2018, I thought, I was like, this is such a brilliant idea. I was like, I don't think any other gym is thinking about this. I started sending out newsletters. I was like, I don't think any other gym is doing
Nobody's
this.
ever done that.
No one.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm so smart here. So I started communicating more with the members. I started communicating more with them, and so when I switched to programming, I just included that in the newsletter. Hey, this is what's gonna happen. This is the reason why. Just come in here, trust me, and we're gonna be able to still have a good time. And there was honestly, when I switched to programming, there was truly not much. People were just kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
They literally did. I'm very because I hear a lot of other owners or coaches talk about how they get a lot of pushback when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that sucks. 'Cause I know, me personally, I did not experience that.
So it sounds like you built a culture of trust ahead of time. So
Yeah.
they actually trusted what you were saying, and you were communicative with, we're doing this. It's not up for debate. We're doing this,
And here's why, though.
and here's why.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, okay, I trust you, and you're telling me that's what we're doing, so we're in.
And they just
Did you have other coaches at your gym at that point in time?
At that time, I had one coach.
Were they also bought into this switch?
I think she was.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
she didn't give you
you-
pushback,
you
and
didn't
she
give me
didn't
pushback.
like
You would have
complain,
known
right?
if she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would've known
I
if
mean,
she
she
was.
still did the thing, right?
Yeah.
She. I think she was maybe internally or back home. She felt different. I never heard of it though.
That's a good. Most of the time, you'll hear about it,
You'll hear
right?
about it,
There'll be
yeah.
the whispers behind, or like, what's he doing, this, that, and the other thing, right?
So you switch the programming up. You start coaching more. I mean, seeing and correcting more. That's 2018.
Yeah, were you using like progressions and layering in points of performance? Was that a takeaway from the level 2? Or
I wasn't there yet.
Oh, you weren't.
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't there yet.
Okay.
Because again, I was like, programming really jumped at me.
That's really interesting to me. I feel like so many people, like, because the very first drill, like, programming's day 2, second half of day 2, right? Where the first drill is essentially teaching using a tell, show, do, check process and giving you guys the insight of, like, there's these things called progressions and there's points of performance. You need to know those. So that's awesome. That's really interesting.
So I remember that, but I don't know. So I think one of the reasons why I jumped in, because I remember one day when I got out to level 1, I asked the old, I was like, hey, I said, how do you do the programming? He would do it. I said, oh, bro, it's like very simple, man. He pulled out his phone. He goes, I go to my notes and I do this, and it started just going almost like a wheel of fortune type deal. He goes, so that's the workout for today. I was like, oh.
Oh, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, so that's why like when programming, that I finally was like the way they present at the level 2, it just really seems so like elegant, right? So it's like, that's what I need right there. That right there is gonna allow me to start to do these other things a little better. You know, because if I try to do these things and the way we have it currently structured, I'm not gonna be able to do it. You know, so I was like, I need to set myself up for success by first doing this right here to allow me to then be able to see correct, use progressions, use layering. Because if I try to do it the other way, I was like, it's not gonna work for me. I just knew it wasn't. Hey, okay, guys, we gotta go over here now. Now over here. Now over here.
Yeah.
You know.
So all right, you changed the programming. You start working on your seeing and correcting, knowing that's going to be a journey. What happens next?
I went deep into every course that CrossFit was offering.
Just all the online stuff?
So I knocked out all the online. I started taking all the gym. I took the gymnastics, weightlifting, every course, aerobic capacity, every course that CrossFit was offering, I signed up. And I was in there. And I was just going. Every course popped up, I'm going. And I just kept going to every single course, trying just to expose myself to as much knowledge as possible. I look back, maybe it was a little too much water at the fire hose. I was like,
sometimes it's like, so much information, I can't do anything with it because it's so much, but still.
But I knew what I wanted. One of the things I wanted to do was just be around people who cared about the craft and just hear about it, right? Hear their passion, hear whatever they learned, their journey, and just take away that. So maybe I'm not fully taking away all the content knowledge, but I'm just watching this person, the way they work. Yeah. And I'm just observing them. I'm like, you know what this person does? I'm like, they just learn, they study. Yeah. They do the thing well, and they keep it very simple. And it was taking a lot of those things and applying it and going back to my gym and then one thing I started doing was I was like, I'm gonna read the level 1. I read the level 1 every single year. I've been reading it every single year, and every single time I read it with a new set of eyes, right? And, and it's oh man, like that one sentence, now that makes sense to me,
now
right?
it's different. Exactly.
You know, so I started doing that, and I just immersed myself as much knowledge as possible. I took the CDP with Fern back in 2019. I took other courses just to, and one of the things, there was this one an old school level 4 at in Houston. John McPherson, he's about 5 miles away from the gym, so I hired him to come evaluate me a couple of times in my classes to start giving me feedback.
How was that the first time you got it?
Oh, it was nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I hadn't really received feedback, right? So that was new.
Feedback, like to be willing to put yourself out there and do that, and to even have the foresight to go out and seek these examples. Like most of the people that we talk to that have gotten to where you got, level 4 seminar staff, they were fortunate enough to stumble across somebody who did this at a pretty high level, and they had this expectation kind of set out in front of them, and so you're obviously the opposite of that sense. That it's like you didn't have that example, you had to find that example and create that example.
It was being on YouTube all the time, right? I was just watching all these YouTube videos, and one thing when I was talking to Fern Ackerman earlier, they were saying about like, how do you keep it so simple, or what has led your gym to be where it's at? And I'm just like, hey, there's gyms such as like, whether it's Rife, whether it's Roots, like they have written the playbook, right? And it was just like, let me just run the play, right? They run the play. So I was watching YouTube videos, all these other coaches that I want to become. I'm like, they're just laying it out.
Yeah.
They're saying exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I need feedback. I was like, who can give me feedback in Houston? And I went to the CrossFit directory. I was like, oh, John McPherson is a level 4. I was like, he probably knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I shot him a text, and he came in and gave me some feedback.
great.
And then how cool is that you've got a community where these people that, technically you could consider himself a competitor, which we all know that's the case, like not the case if you own an affiliate in town. It's like we're all fighting the same battle, but for him to be willing to take that email or take that call and be like, yeah, you need some help to get better, let me come and offer that to you. And it also is cool that you were able to source all these different resources and videos and things to see the examples that, fortunate enough, now we're able to offer with the knowledge and put that stuff out there so coaches can go to one central location to get a lot of that information.
Have you checked out the knowledge much?
Oh, it's on my phone right now.
I'm just checking. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's one press the button away.
isn't it great though? Like, all this stuff that you took so much time to find. Me too. Like, I'd go try to find information. It was like, this is so hard to find like something that I believe in. But it was super fun. But like, we had that time back in the day. It's been great to put it all into one place. I feel very thankful that I get to do so. So when did you start to set your eyes on getting a level 3, level 4, getting on a staff?
So I knew, I was like, man, if I want to become these individuals, I was like, I want to be part of that. I was like, I want to be part of, I want to surround myself with those type of individuals. I want to grow with individuals like that. I was like, I want to be a red shirt. And because I remember going back to like the way things that sat in my head. And
My G.
yeah, and so when I took the CDP with Fern, a month later, and at that moment I had been studying for my level 3. A month later, I took my level 3. I was fortunate to pass it, and then the moment I passed it, I was like, oh, boom! I sent my application.
Passed it your first time?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. I sent my application off to CrossFit for seminar. And they replied back. They were like, and at this moment we're not hiring. So okay, cool. So I sent another one about a month later or so, and then they were like, okay. Then they scheduled me for my first internship. So
Same deal. How awesome was that? Like, how many people do you know that have sent the, like, how nervous you probably were to send the first email, right? And then to get a response that says, nah, we're all set. And for you to be willing a month later, not 6 months later, not a year later, to do that again.
And I'll tell you a little bit more once I go to the internship, right? So they scheduled me for my first internship. I did 4 internships. And on my 4th one, my flow master was Lisa Ray. She was like, come back in 6 months. I was like, all right, man, damn it. So take off, and it was in February of 2021. So I set a reminder in July of 2021. I was like 6 months later. And I was okay. I was like, so 6 months later, I sent an email out. I thought I was gonna get an email from CrossFit. I didn't get anything. I was like, I was like, it's been 6 months. So I shot at the text in front. I was like, hey man, I was like, so I haven't heard anything. He was like, just be a squeaky wheel, bro. Like, check.
Yeah.
So I sent an email. They responded back. They were like, we're not hiring at this time. I was like, all right. So I was like, I'm gonna be a squeaky wheel. So then I put a reminder on my calendar for every 6 weeks. For every 6 weeks for 4 years. 3.5 years. That was in 2021, right? And then now we're in 2024.
3 years, yeah.
3 years, whatever. Every 6 weeks, I send an email out to CrossFit. I'm so interested.
How many people have gotten the, like, hey, come back in 12 months, 6 months, even people that have, like, come back in 3 months, like they're close, come back in 3 months, but take that as, like, failure, and then they...
I just needed like 1% of hope, right? And all I needed was the emails of, we're not hiring at this moment. Okay.
You're still responding.
Exactly. They're not telling me no. Stop contacting me. Like, get a life, bro. You know.
Yeah.
They just keep telling me, we're not hiring. I was like, that gives me a glimpse of hope.
I love it.
And I just kept doing it.
Well, a couple things. Number one, going into your internship, how prepared did you feel like you were? And then number two, why do you think you didn't get asked on? And then finally, like, how did you take that?
So going into my first internship, I was terrified. My first internship, right? I thought I was prepared.
Wait, so how did you get that email? What was the email?
My first internship?
No, when they said, yeah, you're on.
So that.
No, we're talking about it just for the first internship.
The very first one. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that one, I felt like, okay, you know what? I think I'm following the script here, right? I've done some courses. I got some feedback at that point. I had studied all my progressions, my layering. I was like, I know all this stuff. Point to performance. I was like, I would recite it myself. I was doing all the coaching at the gym, like making sure I was doing it the right way. And so going into my first internship, I just didn't know what to expect. I was just like terrified. Right? I was like, are they gonna make me do some stuff or coach them? Like, well, I have no idea. So I went in, and my flow master, my first one was Nadia, and I realized, okay, the first one, just don't be an asshole, right? It's just like, he's like, are you cool? Are you a cool guy here, right? So I was able to help him out, and then the second one, I remember one time I was like, you better know your progression. I was like, so I learned, because during the first initial meeting, they were like, some of the progressions for these movements. And I knew them all. They're like, okay, good. And then afterwards, one of the rest, he was like, bro, you'll be surprised how many people just have no idea.
So many!
Nothing worse
So many!
Then like, all right, Josh, it's your time to shine. Tell us the progression for the push press. And you hear feet under the hips, and you're like, oh no.
So I tell them first. Usually I'll get to know them first, and then after that I'm gonna have them show me a couple, and then I'm like,
All right.
not what we asked.
He was like, good. He's like, the fact that he said you actually need it. I was okay. I was like, okay, whew. So that was my first. So again, I didn't know what to expect. The second and third and fourth, I had to start doing some coaching, and then when coaching the circles, I was like, oh man. And then having the register watching you, I was like, good God Almighty! I hope you have to go use the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
That was pretty damn. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty terrifying.
Well, it's such a nerve-wracking setting, period.
Yeah.
But they're all new, right? You've never met these people, and when you coached in your gym, so you have no framework for these people at all. You have no relationship. You have no nothing. So in the moment, and then to make it even worse, you've got someone standing behind you with a clipboard, being like, "Come on." Yeah.
And then one thing that I had to get over, psychologically, was like, I know that these individuals, these people have red shirts on. I have a black shirt on.
Yeah.
I'm a little different here.
Yeah.
Right? And they know that, right? And so it's kind of like, oh, they probably know that I'm trying to prove myself here, So it's like, that was something that's like
funny that's in your mind, because the reality of it is the participants have no idea. You
Yeah.
don't know what any of the shirts.
we create
you
our
get up
own.
there and say, you tell yourself whatever story you want.
Exactly,
right?
100%.
So, all right. So you finished with your fourth one. You're getting ready to get your feedback from Lisa Ray. Do you feel like you had done enough? Were you prepared at that point? Especially looking back now?
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I went into my fourth one. I remember after Saturday, Lisa was like, "Good job." And I was like, "I'm pretty good." And it almost I almost kind of relaxed. And I went into Sunday and I butched it. I know I did. I messed it up.
What'd you mess up?
Oh, I went crazy long on the deadlift. I went almost I think 19 minutes on the deadlift, and and I knew in the minute I could remember the back of my neck was sweating. I was in Arizona, and I was like, and I knew I was like, I'm dropping the. I was like, I don't know how do I get out of this? I just kept going because running in the quicksand.
Yeah.
I just kept getting deeper.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I get out of this? And Lisa had to step in and basically take over the rest. And I was like,
I probably didn't make it. This probably didn't work out. Dang it.
So then, but the one thing I will say that Lisa did for me was that, I saw her at the Seminar Summit a couple of months ago, and I told her, I was like, she sent me a 1.5-page email of
she did.
feedback, dude.
Yes, she
Legit
did.
Feedback. And I ended up printing that out, and I posted it on my wall, and I would read it almost on a monthly basis, just the feedback that she gave me. But that email, it meant so much to me in the sense that I was like, I'm an intern, yet this individual took that long to write me this detailed email that I probably wouldn't write a detailed email to my own mom. Yet she barely knows me, and she took the time to do that. I was like, if she was willing to do that, I was like, I better put the work in it. Because I was like, I want to go back one day and tell Lisa thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and I was fortunate able to do that, you know, at the summit.
Some people, by the way, get that email and then go,
I quit CrossFit.
well, there's two. One goes, it destroys them as a person. They're like, I'm terrible, and they never do it again. The other people go, screw her. How dare she write that to me?
Well, so I'll be honest. In the moment, yeah, I hated her for about 30 seconds. I thought she was the worst person in the world. You know, that you're crushing my dream here. You know, like I hated her for like 30 seconds, and then that email did hurt.
Yeah.
Like it did hurt. Like,
Of course it
really
hurts. It's feedback on how
hurt.
good you are.
And it cut deep, and I was just like, damn. But like once you actually go back and read it with a new set of eyes, right? You let your
Put your ego aside, have your moment, and then realize that this is her truth.
This is what cool. Okay, let me pick it one at a time. What can I start, right? Okay, she's saying do this. Okay, let me do this first, right? But one thing I knew was I was like, I want to keep exposing myself to this because at the time I had just also created a vision board of myself, and I had learned like the power of a vision board and stuff, you know. So I was like, okay, what you expose yourself to on a constant basis. I was like, I want to expose myself to this email on a constant basis. So I printed it out because I knew it would have gotten lost in my emails, right?
Yeah.
Even though it would have hit that save button.
Yeah.
Print it out, and I would just read it on a constant basis, and I would try to apply. Okay, this go back to what Lisa said, and I'll go back and read it. Like, okay, talking about the how, cool. You know, so I just kept just trying to apply it every single day.
And so you're sending that email every 6 weeks. They're saying, hey, we're not hiring. What happens next?
So I'm still jumping into courses. I took the CDP. I went with Denise Thomas, did some one-on-one work with her. I kept taking courses, right? I kept learning, just kept developing. At the time, I had already joined Best Hire of the Day, did a lot of their coach development stuff. And I just kept working, and I kept going to gyms. I went to Roots a couple of times just to go watch them coach. How do they do the thing, right? I started to really get a lot of my mindset right, so I went to like Diesel Day to just really, you know, create more confidence and belief in myself, right? And knowing that, you know, I might not be where I want to be right now, but this doesn't mean I can't get there, right? I'm not just to stay on the right path. And I just kept working at it. And when they finally came out with the level 4 announcements that it was gonna come out, like I was like, okay. I told my wife, I was like, I firmly believe if I get the level 4, that could potentially open that door for the seminar staff. I think it will, man. So I was like, I'm going for that level 4 as well. And again, to me, like I said earlier, like I was like, how can I become the people that I'm like? They all have level 4s. So I wanna eat in the same table as they do, you know. And I wanna stomp with the big dogs here. And I was like, yeah, okay, if I'm a level 4, that means I can do all these things very well, right? So I was, the moment the level 4 came out, signed up for it. Didn't pass it the first time. And then as soon as I failed it, about a month or two later, I signed up for another one. And passed it the second time. And again, at this time, I was still emailing CrossFit, right? The moment I passed it, the next day I was like, hey, are you hiring? I just passed my level 4. And
all of a sudden, they were open again, or what?
And then I got a couple of days later, they were like, so are you still interested in the internship? I was like, hell yeah, I'm still interested in the internship. And,
are you still interested?
And that's in the
thread.
Yeah,
that's in the thread of like 3 years of emails.
3 years of emails. Yeah. Like, no, you know what, buddy? Change of heart.
I should change of heart right now.
And so I was able to go back into my internship. Did 2 more internships. Both of them I did with Matt Loden. And then the second one, he was like, I'm gonna recommend you to the team.
Nice.
Dude, that's awesome.
Matt's a hard man. So if you made it through Matt, we got a pretty good filter on him. I like Matt.
Matt.
Probably gave you some feedback after the first one.
Yeah, yeah. He's a real deal, man. He's about as sturdy as this damn cement right here, bro. He's on this floor, like he'll get you.
Yes, he will.
But yeah, so I was able. He was like, all right, cool. Then I'm gonna recommend you to the team. So
legit,
I
man.
was able to get on.
And how long ago was that?
March.
Nice, man.
And new.
You taught some gigs since then?
Done 3. I actually got my 4th one next weekend.
Nice.
And then I got my 5th one 2 weeks later.
Awesome, man.
So
Awesome.
So what do you think, what's your biggest takeaway from that journey? Because that obviously was about as challenging of a story to get on staff as I've heard. Like there's been a few like that, but that one obviously you had to overcome some things there. What was the biggest takeaway?
oh man, just don't give up, man. Honestly, it's like if you truly want it, right? And you hear all these people say, right? Whether it's and sometimes you question it, like, no way, you can't just keep going. Say no. You really can.
You really
You
can.
really can, right? When like remove all the like a David Goggins, right?
Yeah.
If you just snip to some of his messages, some of it, some people be like, it's too much for them.
Yeah.
I can get it. I can get why, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, what he's really saying is just don't give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Keep going, like keep going. And so many other individuals in this world who have made it, it was muddy.
Yeah.
It was muddy as hell, man. And if you really want it, you gotta be willing to toss and turn on that mud, get dirty, learn that you're gonna get crushed at times, but does not mean you can't recover from that. You know, bounce back. You'll bounce back even better, and you're gonna question yourself. But just understand that if your heart is really there and you know what you're going for, it's gonna be a good thing to do.
It sounds like you owned everything.
I had to, right?
Well, there are many people who don't.
Yeah.
And we meet many people who are like, I want it. And then they get feedback and they're like, ow. You know, like, so you owned all of your things and you kept going. So it was that combination of like, cool, all right, well,
That sucks. Let me
sucks.
onboard that, figure it out.
What can I do differently? And let me take the next step.
Well, I think one of the things I always kept going back to, in all honesty, was like, okay, I'm a gym owner, I'm a coach. What am I telling my athletes all the time? Keep working on your goals.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
That double under yours, keep at it.
You can
keep
get it.
at
Yeah.
What kind of hypocrite am I gonna be the moment it gets tough for me, it gets hard for me, and I
Give up.
stop?
Yeah.
That was honestly one thing that kept playing in my own head.
Yeah.
So I made sure because I remember hearing that, I was like, well, as coaches, we educate, we entertain, we inspire. And I was like, inspire? I was like, well, let me inspire, because I'm a normal guy, right?
Yep.
I'm like, well, let me inspire my athletes by showing them that I'm gonna keep moving forward here, right? And anytime my athlete comes up to me and be like, I don't think I can do it, be like, buddy, trust me, you can.
Trust me.
And I'm just not saying
Allow me to
this
sit
out
you
of
down
flow.
for an hour and tell you a story.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I think our biggest job, one of our biggest jobs, if not the biggest jobs as an affiliate owner, is to set the example.
Yeah.
To show up in class, do the workouts, work on your craft as a coach, work on your business practices, like just be the example. Like
Be the
it's as
example.
important for me to do the workouts and suffer and do that as anything else.
And I think it's something that's clearly forgotten when it comes to the demonstration piece of the 6 criteria.
So live it.
It's not just a demonstrating how you move, right? It's like, do you actually live the part?
What the story you're telling, right?
Exactly.
Like, that
Do you
wanna-
actually, like, because people, like, you never know, man. Like, and I remember hearing this one time, like, you never know in whose story you're the hero,
Yeah.
right? You never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
You never know. And it's just like, okay, am I living the part in that? So I was just like, okay, I never want my athletes, if they want to quit my gym, hey, you're charging me too much, buddy. All right, or whatever. But it's not because, man,
You didn't give a crap.
you didn't give a crap. Nah, bro, you're full of it.
Yeah.
You know, no, you're not gonna call me out on that. at all.
I think that lesson definitely transcends just gym ownership and stuff. It's just like, I think every person in this world has the opportunity to be the example for someone else with how they carry themselves. That's the point of self-improvement. Is not to improve yourself, but to be a better example for other people who are going through shit.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to take it outside of self, it's like, yeah, you live a better life when you're a better example, but like, you literally are the example for everyone you bump into contact with.
You
And
are, man.
Are you a CrossFit coach who's feeling stuck in their development? You're not alone. Many coaches lack good guidance when it comes to how to develop as a coach. They either don't have strong examples they find themselves around, they may lack support from their gym owner, and they just feel unprepared going into their next credential. That's why we made the Knowledge Pro, to fill that gap. It's a mentorship program built for coaches like you. It uses the Knowledge Daily, our comprehensive video library, as well as extra content that we put directly into the Knowledge Pro on our live weekly calls twice a week to mentor you and get you to the next level of development. We've got progressions, we've got scales, we've got one-off tips and tricks, we've got full coached classes by level 4 coaches so you can see an example of what it means to do this job well. All of that will also be walked through each week on those live calls, so that you have a soundboard to bounce off of and a group of coaches looking to be better to help support you in your endeavors. Coaching isn't just knowing what to do, it's also knowing how to do it. And that takes 2 things. 1, an example, and 2, practice. Practice is on your end, you gotta go out there and do it. We can help provide that example and the support with the Knowledge Pro. If you wanna know more, click the link below and give the Knowledge Pro a shot. I look forward to seeing you on one of the next calls.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what your coaching staff looks like now, because you made mention, hey, I took over the gym, it's just me, not a good coach, I don't have good examples, and I had one girl with me. What's it look like now?
So now we have a coach. We have currently 4 coaches, a 5th one going through our internship. They're all level 2s except for one. My wife is a level 1. I'm like,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
She just got her level 1. But all my other coaches are level 2s. But yeah, one of the requirements is if you're going to be on staff, the requirement is you're going to do some continuing education, right? So whether it's through best hour of the day, we also have an internship, a continuing education program where I'll pay for half of their course if they continue to go up. But again, it's a requirement. They're required to take online courses a certain amount every single year. We do coach development. Every week we do a programming meeting. We do monthly feedbacks. I watch them in person, and then I also do another feedback where they record themselves for a full hour, and then we sit down together and go over that video together.
Right.
We also do 1 hour together at the gym where we do feedback to each other and coach with each other on some drills. So it's a constant improvement, and I also do require them to read the professional coach email.
Yeah.
We talk about it together as a staff during our monthly team meeting. So development is without a doubt, if you want to work at CrossFit, be someone that you have to love.
Yeah,
you have to take.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, I see Curtis on almost every one of my Wednesday calls. I see you guys submit your homework, and I just think it's so cool that you were able to overcome not having the good example of what a coach is and should look like, seek that out, and now you're able to offer that to all of your coaches underneath you. And I know what happens to the quality of the product that you provide at your gym when you, number one, set the example, and then you facilitate everybody else's ability to develop that same skill, and also you incentivize them to do so.
Yeah,
man,
that's
I love
awesome.
That. That's really, really cool.
So where can people find you if they want to grab a hold of you? And
well, CrossFit B1 in Houston, right? Our website is CrossFitB1.com. Our Instagram is CrossFit _B1_nutrition, and then I have my own Instagram, Coach _Josh Melendez, I think. I don't even know my own handle.
It sounds about the same as me.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is because I'm never on there. But
he spends a little bit more time. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Well, sick, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
stoked to have you as part of the team.
Hopefully, we get a chance to work with you sometime soon, man.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Behind the Knowledge. Now, if you want help developing your coaching and to learn from us directly, check out the Knowledge Pro. There we host live calls with our coaches every week where we discuss content together and work on skills to improve our on-the-floor coaching ability. To learn more, you can head over to besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And if you found this content helpful, we're going to be releasing new episodes every week, so subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.